Alright. I think we're live.
Technically speaking? Literally speaking?
Literally, I said live, not alive.
Let's see. So can you test our mic quality, volume, everything in between? Maybe not.
I suppose I could. Is Snapchat?
They're
Why?
pretty similar,
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm trying to keep it pretty low in the green. I want it to. Yeah, you cap out in the green still. So. Yeah, I made sure you capped out in the green still, because the pen clicking was annoying me and I wasn't going to let it get to anyone else. I'm sorry for what this man does. He was Bjorn this way.
With a J. You know, like French people.
I was referring to Torbjorn,
I
who
see.
is Swedish.
You should be French.
Try my meatballs.
If you was French, French would be your favorite people.
French already are my favorite people.
And they gave you Char.
Specifically in Canada.
All Canadians are French.
Prove us wrong, you can't. Alright, let's move this back a bit so we're a bit more visible.
Or are we? You told me? I don't know.
I've been invisible to this world the entire time.
Did you put the spoiler warning over the top of the thumbnail?
Nope. It's right here. And we're back.
Or are we?
I actually found us when I searched Team Market. No, let go of you're a bitch. I actually found us when I searched Team Market. Let go of you're a bitch.
You got really loud when you said that.
Well, this is at max volume.
You got really loud when you said that. I'm a lot louder than you this time. That's new.
Well, this is at max volume. No, it's about the same. You're hearable this time. Welcome to episode 3, but none of you know that it's episode 3 because the first 2 episodes happened somewhere else.
Welcome to trying YouTube for the first time.
As far as you're aware.
Could be your 8th time. You wouldn't know.
This is our first ooh. I saw the twitch. Oh, okay.
Sometimes people see me Twitch, sometimes they don't.
But we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Twitch.tv.
Someone says something stupid during Spanish class and I twitched and a girl in the front of the classroom just goes, "Did Cyrus just twitch?"
Alright, you start sharing the link to people.
Try twitching. Touch the phone.
No comment.
I wasn't spoken to you.
You people aren't allowed to comment on that either.
I mean, you can. There's a comment section for a reason.
Use it, just not for that.
Use it for your twitching needs. So.
Power on. Right air.
I don't know if you heard that,
Thank
but
you, my personal
the walls
assistant.
are speaking to me. The walls speak to me.
Phone connected.
They tell me to murder Claudius.
Is that you, Jesus? Yes. Now go. Kill them all.
For those of you who haven't seen Sword Art Online Abridged, watch it. And then watch Log Horizon Abridged.
Which we'll do an episode on eventually.
Possibly.
It's gonna happen eventually.
I have no idea what we're watching next. I'll figure it out as we go.
Alright. So you're sending out the link? I am gonna get the link and then I'm gonna start the music.
I'm gonna use Patriot. Because we don't measure shit in maple syrup here.
You really like that Snapchat thing, the messing with text.
Like being fancy.
I hate that was a pun.
I don't have the link.
Why do you not? I'll get you the link.
I was gonna pull it up on YouTube.
That's what I did to get stuff. Where are we? We were on the map. We should still be on the map.
I just want to overtake the 74 subscriber Team Arcadia.
Yeah, we need to... Guys, please do subscribe to us. We need to beat out the Fortnite channel. Make us the biggest Team Arcadia. We can't be losing to a Fortnite channel. I know we just started, but still. Like, come on.
Come on, good games, people.
Come on. Yeah, let's put some quality in our quantity. Or us.
There we go.
Here I go, here I go, here I go again. Ladies, what's my weakness?
You're a bitch.
Men. You know, maybe I don't usually, because we've posted the VODs from the other two on my channel, which I'll probably link in the description at some point, probably when I turn this into a video. But we don't usually cut stuff down. I might cut down the first, 5-6 minutes where we're not doing anything.
Probably. You want to know what they said when they accepted the Trojan horse? I hope everyone thinks of Trojan whenever they get wood.
Helen of Troy was a hot bitch. And I stand by that.
Joan of Arc is hotter. Shout out to all my Fate fans. If you exist, I hope you do, because damn, Fate's good.
I make no argument against Joan of Arc. I have, in fact, watched Bill and Ted.
I have not. But I have seen Fate.
You haven't seen Bill and Ted, and it really shows. Alright, you have to have your phone out to watch the chat. Let's start talking about what's up there.
Also, introduction. So.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of
What's up, Cyrus?
That is my name indeed. Yours is Aiden. As
I
far as I know.
I didn't remember the rest of the reference. Something about Kagewa life.
Hey, Washi! Let's go! Go! Those of you who haven't seen Yuki as a hero, you should.
You're a weeb.
Magical girl anime are great.
I have no comment on that either.
Hey! Oh.
I haven't watched one yet.
We don't have time.
We don't have time for what?
Next week.
You wanted to make us watch an entire Magical Girl anime in a week?
Yep.
I mean, we could. It just means I get to choose something we watch quicker.
It's 12 episodes. It's pretty short.
Then why do we not have time?
What's next week? Oh, you're gonna be... Wait, we're gonna be able to record next week, aren't we? I know, we're watching.
For those of you who don't understand, Cyrus and I are both still in school, but we have Monday off, and Wednesdays are short days, so we get time to get together and watch anime and film this. We're going to be gone in a couple weeks, though.
Not permanently, just
No.
for like a day or two.
Not permanently, but we'll be out of town for a while on what would be our free time, because we're going to go tour a college.
Yay.
Scary.
Capitalism. So...
The world takes our money and
If
we
there's a day where we
get
won't be able to
knowledge.
record, we will record we'll pre-record and just upload a video. Probably gonna do something such as Silent Voice, Regular Magic High School, maybe Your Lie in April, shows that we've seen.
Oh no. Your lie is happening with Julia. Julia is going to feel the hurt. She asked for it today. She walked up to me after lunch and she said, "So when are you going to hurt me?" I'm paraphrasing, but
We. You know an emotional girl, show her Your Lie in April, Pancreas, A Silent Voice, Erased, apparently, so I've heard. For those of you who have seen Erased, you probably like it, because from what I've heard, Erased is very good. I have not gotten around to it because I am lazy.
Why would you put Silent Voice in that list?
I will
That's just
stab you.
it's just a good anime to find someone to make fun of.
Anyways, drop recommendations of anime that no one's ever heard of, because those are the fun ones.
Yeah, drop us stuff that we can watch that like would be weird and crazy. All right. Let's
Mysterious Girlfriend X.
move in to the podcasting part of this podcast.
Alright, today we're here to talk about one of the, honestly, in my opinion, best gangster anime ever. And that's considering JoJo's Part 5. My favorite JoJo's part.
Well, JoJo's not the best of anything because JoJo's is...
Anywho, so, Baccano is, like...
top tier
It's great.
gangster anime.
If you have not seen
Oh.
do so and come back.
Last week, you said this was a gambling anime.
I thought it was.
2 weeks ago.
All I knew about
Sorry.
it was the opening song. Some of the scenes from the opening song. So I thought it was going to be a gambling anime. I was not ready for it to not be a gambling anime.
Oh, there was almost nothing to do with gambling in this anime.
There was a scene where the gangsters were talking to each other while playing Old Maid.
Was it that was one of them? They were playing poker at one point.
They play poker in the opening, but I think the only time I ever saw them playing game, it was Old Maid.
No,
Do you know how funny it is to see a bunch of gangsters sitting around a table playing Old Maid?
there was a point where they were playing poker. Luck was playing poker with his family, and then
Keith and Berga.
yeah, and then he got shot in the head.
Okay, so if you have not seen Baccano, go watch Baccano.
Right now,
I swear to God.
here we go. We're gonna put this up right now. Hey, warning! This
show-
contains spoilers.
I am sad that I have seen this show for the simple reason I can never rewatch it for the first time again.
Oh yeah, and I now have a very deep and passionate love-hate relationship with this podcast because the reason we're both done with this show when we are is because we had to get it done. We had a deadline, which means we couldn't slow down and watch it. Oh dear God. I watched like half of it last night.
I at least paced mine out a bit more. I watched one episode at like 6 yesterday, and then I didn't watch any of it afterwards because freaking video games.
Alright.
Be careful how much time you dump into video games because it's always more than you expect.
Alright, we've given you people a fair warning. It was up on the screen. It's been there for a while. Moving back to us.
Yep.
Yeah, this is going to contain spoilers. We're going to go over the story that was Baccano.
Which means
We get to start at the beginning.
Baccano means...
Oh, Baccano means ruckus. It translates to ruckus. I don't know what language it's in. I don't know where I found this. I was browsing the internet for random things, and I saw that, and I was like, that's hilarious.
Watch the first episode, and that makes perfect sense, because you will have no clue what the hell just happened.
All right, do I even have a quote from myself? One of my notes just says kind of fucked up, which after the first episode is a pretty decent note.
Baccano's episode 1. Everything happens at once. You see clips from near the end of the show, the beginning of the show, the middle of the show, before the show starts, jumping in and out and everywhere. But it's all being told between these two characters. One being vice president of some information keeping company, and one being a little girl who is his apprentice. Trying to figure out where they should start this story.
Yeah, our story starts out with a little girl on a table reading books.
And then when the episode ends, you're just sitting there thinking, what the fuck just happened?
You don't understand, and that's a really good hook. It just immediately makes you go, oh, I guess I'm watching the rest of this now. What's going on?
Yeah, it's bizarre. Everything's happening. But that was a very good episode 1. Definitely one of the best episode 1s out of what I've seen.
Yeah, no, it had a great hook. It caught my attention very well, which is impressive because I have the attention span of a gopher. I actually have no clue what the attention span of a gopher is, but I get distracted really easily. I get bored with anime. But this was something where it hooked me, grabbed me, and I was like, okay, I'm going to finish this. This is a very good anime that is worth watching.
Definitely. It's great. Definitely. If you've seen Durara and you like Durara, Baccano, you will like it more. Because people like to compare Durara to Baccano.
They say Durara is the spirit sequel of Baccano, which is probably a good reference because I haven't seen Durara.
Or three Ras.
Durara.
Yep. As someone who has seen Durara, okay.
Yeah.
As someone who has seen Durara, I can definitely understand. The reason I wanted to watch Baccano is because I heard it was similar to Durara. But there are gang movements everywhere. There are like 15 different characters to keep track of.
There's more than 2 gangs, which I didn't realize initially.
Yeah.
I was like, it's this clan versus this clan, Romeo and Juliet. No, it's this family and this family and this family on the side and that family over there.
It's extremely realistic because you never have the full information on the gang wars because that's not what you're following. You're following these specific characters.
Yeah, most of the story doesn't even care about the gang wars, but the first episode makes you feel like it does.
Yep. There are 3 major plot lines going on. Those being the train plot line, the plot line, I don't know what to call it, the gang plot line that involves Firo.
I'd say that's the Immortal
plot line. And then there's the Dallas Genowards plot line, which is the gang wars. But
then there's also a side thing that happens way in the past, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I think that falls under the Immortals because Misa is involved.
Yeah, okay. So after the confusion that is episode 1, when you sit there baffled for 5 minutes, trying to figure out who characters are and what's going on.
And why characters are dying and why characters are undying.
Yeah. You move on to episode 2, where we start to get more information about the train and what's going on around you.
Yep, you learn, and I believe the first 2 characters you get associated with are Isaac and Miria.
Isaac and Miria are 2 of the best characters of all time. So well written, such a good duo, so dynamic.
There, if you took characters and you went, I'm a max out charisma and then I'm a max out luck and nothing else.
And it's not that luck where it's like I'm extremely lucky and that's it. It's like I'm extremely lucky and sometimes that'll cause unfortunate things to happen to people around me. But
it'll all turn out okay.
It'll all turn out just fine.
And it always does, because
Isaac and Miria are legends.
So you're just them. Then you get introduced to a few other characters.
You meet
Firo,
Luck,
Ennis,
Firo.
Luck.
Do we meet Ennis in the first?
Ennis sends a letter to Isaac and Miria,
Yes,
explaining
Ennis-
to them that she misses them and they are like siblings to her.
Yeah.
And she has none.
Ennis reaches out to Isaac and Miria, and we meet Luck and Firo, who we meet them. They're together in a library, and they get gunned down.
But then they stand back up.
Then they get back up. The librarian goes, "What the hell?"
The gunners are getting beaten by Firo because Firo just immediately goes, "You shot at me. Fight."
Firo's awesome. We like
Pretty
Firo.
suave. You guys see him get a hat?
Yeah. And it's a nice hat.
Yep. Master overrated. Anywho.
Wrong time. This is the wrong year to say that. And also, wrong show to say that in. Let's examine Isaac and Miria.
They don't need masks because you know what they got? They got costumes.
And a door.
We'll talk about that later. So, you meet quite a few characters right away. and you start to learn to follow everything slightly. But now is where you start to realize that the story is showing like 4 different timelines. Well, technically it's one timeline. It's 4 different points in the time. There's one going on in 1830, 1831, 1832, and there's one that goes on in 1711.
And then there's like a minor one-off in 2001.
Yep, there's a clip that takes place in 2001. Usually they'll like splash the year on the screen, which at first you don't pay much attention to because you're like, oh, that's not too important. But then you soon realize that's what helps you keep track of what is going on.
Yeah. So the way I like to think about it is the first episode is a shotgun spread of everything that happens, and from there on, all those little holes start to expand, and you slowly understand more of the timeline.
Yeah, and one thing I like is there are a bunch of characters. Some of them never meet each other, but they all have at least one character combining them with each other. There's one character, Jacuzzi, who never ends up meeting Firo, but through Isaac and Miria, they're still connected. And then Chane is connected to every character through Isaac and through Jacuzzi, who's connected through Isaac and Miria. You'll find Isaac and Miria are kind of the center points of this story.
Which is funny because they never really have anything on the line, do they?
No.
They're never in any danger. They're never like the big heroes of the moment.
Well, I mean, they did run over Zillion.
They weren't in danger.
They didn't know that until 2001. So, yeah, they ran over this guy, but we should probably explain that, yeah, a lot of these characters are immortal.
And the first episode does not tell you why at all. It shows what happens when they get, like, killed.
Firo get his fingers cut off, but his fingers start coming back to him at, like, time reversed for his body.
Like some Doctor Strange shit.
Yeah. And then you see Sheslaw get his head blown off.
Clean off. Like, splatter on the wall.
Point blank shotgun. And then it just all comes back together.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about Lad Russo.
We'll get to LaRusso.
Yeah.
But I think the first major plot point you go over is the events of the Flying Pussyfoot.
There should be a counter in the show for how many times the characters go, the transcontinental train, the Flying Pussyfoot.
Yep.
It's a very frequent happening, and I find it to be hilarious.
It is very funny. But the Flying Pussyfoot, so much happens. Let's see, there are 3 major factions. There is there's Jacuzzi's group, who came on board to steal some stuff, I believe. There are the Blackcoats, who want to use this as a chance to obtain a piece so they can
It's leverage for a
imprisoned immortal who they wish to have unimprisoned. And then you have the white suits who just want to kill people.
Yeah, it's Lad Russo's group.
Yep.
And they want to kill everyone.
Indiscriminately. And you're introduced to Lad Russo. Insane. Literally insane. He just kills because killing is fun.
In the first episode, you get to see a clip of Lad Russo. He's missing an arm, but the bone is jutting out where his arm should be, and he's offering to kill his lover.
You soon find out that his lover is actually suicidal.
She wants to die.
But only by Lad Russo's hands.
What a lovely couple.
And Lad Russo says, I will kill you once I've killed everyone in the world
who wants to live more than you. Well,
and his favorite thing is killing people
who think they can't die.
Yep. So mob bosses, people who think they're protected under laws, immortals, but one of those doesn't go too well for him.
Yeah, the immortal thing is
Fucking God.
Oh yeah. He tries to kill God at some point. Religion is not a theme in this story, but we still meet God and Satan.
Yep. So, those are my characters. Let's talk a bit more about Jacuzzi.
Jacuzzi, the smooth Chad
You meet
lad.
Jacuzzi, and he is a blubbering mess. He's crying about everything. He has no self-confidence. Just a mess. And you see him hanging out with this girl named Niece, who has a bunch of burn marks and an eye patch. And
She looks like a pirate.
she's also kind of hot.
Pirates can be hot.
Yes. And he's just a blithering mess. And Niece and his cohorts convince him to talk to Isaac and Miria, who are also on this train, because they robbed a place and they're running away.
Yeah.
Then they considered driving the train, but they're like, no, we're supposed to use the train to get away safely. 'Cause
So,
they're stupid.
so this interaction, they forget what a train robbery is. They rob a place. They get on the train, and then they go, time to rob the train. And then Miria goes, wait, isn't the train our getaway? And Isaac goes, yes, you're right. Now we wait.
Don't rob the train. They're such a stupid couple. In a way, it feels
so
like Isaac
amazing.
is taking advantage of Miria, but then you find out Miria is just having a blast. Like,
They're both loving life. Oh, boy.
they're great. Like, they're the funniest couple. They're the definition of a power couple.
Imagine robbing a little girl blind to save her from herself.
Yep.
We'll
That
get
little
on to
girl
that.
happens to be Eve Genoward.
Brother of Dallas Genoward, this mysterious figure that we don't know jack about in the first couple episodes.
All you know is that in 1932 he is missing, and she is searching for him. However, no one knows where he is.
No one knows what happened to Dallas.
Everyone is looking for Dallas, and no one knows what happened. And even the info brokers.
Aren't sure what happened to Dallas.
So you immediately start off asking yourself, who's Dallas? Why is he so important? What is going on with him?
You're gonna overhype Dallas in your way through this story. He's a punk bitch.
Yep, because you meet Dallas during 1930, I believe it is.
Yeah, it was before the whole immortal thing happened, so yeah.
1930, you see this guy experimenting with a potion, and he kills a mouse. But the mouse starts to come back alive. So, you go. He's making immortality elixirs. So then he starts, but then a fire starts in his house.
Do you remember how this fire started?
No.
One guy with a leather glove said, hey, check this out. Poured gasoline on his hand and lit it on fire. His friend was like, wow, that's really cool. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Takes his cloth glove, pours gasoline on it, lights it, and panics.
Yep, drops the gasoline bottle, then throws the glove on the gasoline bottle, and suddenly the floor is on fire.
Suddenly everything's on fire.
This man has his entire house falling apart. He manages to grab 2 bottles of the elixir and books it. So, he starts, and he runs into Dallas and Dallas's crew. They try robbing him because,
Dallas is a bitch.
yeah, Dallas is your punk trouble child.
There's an old guy. He's got a box. Let's take it.
Yep. Then Firo shows up, and
Firo's awesome.
he decides, this is kind of bad. I'm gonna fight these people. And he does it in such a suave, badass way.
He just kind of dodges them, and they end up on the ground.
Yeah, he like keeps his hands in his pockets, kind of like dodges everything, just constantly tossing his hat into the air, catching it, putting it back on his head.
It's not even the biggest flex fight of the series.
Yeah, he just keeps doing that, and you're like, oh, awesome, and like, just he beats them all up, and then he talks to old man being extremely defensive of the immortality elixir, decides to run away. And then you see Ennis, cute redhead.
Yeah, she ain't bad.
Yep. She decides to start chasing after this man with the box of elixir for an unknown reason at the current moment, and she drops one of her cuffs of her shirt. Firo, seeing this and being the gentleman he is, picks it up and decides to chase after Ennis in order to return it.
Simp.
Gentleman.
Simp.
Gentleman.
Potato, motherfucker. motherfucker.
Different when it's Figaro.
This is what we call double standards. It's usually applied differently, but
Everything's okay if it's animated.
No. No. I'm looking at you, Ethan.
Yep. If your name is Ethan, you're a furry. Okay, moving on. So,
Now we have to specifically send this to him.
let's see, what other... Okay, so 1931, Flying Pussyfoot. You also meet Czesław Mayer.
He's a little kid. He seems pretty cool, and then he tells everyone his name is Czesław and has a panic attack.
Yep. And you still don't understand why that's going on because, I don't know, because they don't tell you until like episode 7 or 8. But Czesław is just like starts panicking, and then Laderusso shows up, black suits show up, start shooting down the place, telling everyone to get down, stay quiet. Then Laderusso shows up, kills all the black suits, and leaves. Czesław sees all of this go down and just immediately goes, I can use him. Which you're like, excuse me? This little 10-year-old child's like sees murder, a very gruesome murder, mind you, and goes, I can use that.
Yeah. All the while, he's hanging out with the mayor's daughter.
Yep.
Who is like kind of... She's not really important, but she's a bargaining chip for all of the groups at the moment.
Just the black suits. The white suits.
The white suits...
The white suits want is murder.
Kind of care, but not really. Because some of them do want to rob people, because some of them aren't as insane as Lad.
Yeah, I guess. But, so he hides her in a closet, goes off in order to meet Laderusso. And then the people in black suits find her in said closet because she panicked and knocked over a broom. So they kidnapped the mother and daughter of the mayor, or the wife and daughter of the mayor. So at the same time, this story is half being told by them, and the other half being told by one of the conductors telling it to the other conductor about this story. But then when they say, "Do you know the way to not have the rail tracer come after you?" which is the name of the monster, the other Isaac and Maria forget the end of the story. The other conductor decides that he's going to start telling a story of, I believe, it's the white suits or the black suits. I think white suit. Yeah,
Black
it's the white
suits. No, black suits. Black suits are the ghosts operating to save
Huey.
Hugh.
Huey. H-U-E-Y. H-U-E-Y.
Huey?
Huey. Anyways,
Cool.
they want to save this guy named Huey. He starts telling a story, and he ends it with, "Do you know how to avoid them? You don't. You die." And then there's a gunshot, or then the screen cuts, and there's a gunshot. Which, that's honest as hell. Anywho, Jacuzzi, wanting to know the end of the story so he can avoid the rail tracer, asks the bartender, and the bartender tells him that...
He heard a similar story from the young conductor.
So, our boy Jacuzzi starts running up to the conductor in order to save everyone by getting rid of the rail tracer from coming after them. Because Jacuzzi's a good-hearted boy.
This is when the murder mystery on the train starts.
There's a lot of mystery on the train. But yeah, now Czesław starts negotiating with Laderusso.
Czesław starts negotiating with Laderusso. Czesław has a plan. Entire train is rigged with explosives. And Czesław wants to take those explosives and sell them to pay off Laderusso to do him a favor and kill everybody on the train.
Dining car. Because you soon find out that the reason Czesław was surprised that he said his name, because whenever Czesław introduces himself to someone, he says, "Hello, I'm Benjamin." That's not his real name. Because you find out that Czesław is immortal. And one of the clauses of being an immortal is when you're in the presence of another immortal,
You have to use your real name.
you reveal your real name whenever you try to say a fake name. So Czesław...
Which is a really weird plot point, but it's really cool.
Yeah. So Czesław realizing that one of the people in the dining car is immortal, decides if he has Laderusso kill everyone in the car, he can figure out which one is an immortal. So goes, You got everything right except for one thing. You don't think you can die. Shoots Cheslaw, blows his head off, and leaves.
Cheslaw's head comes back.
And the only thing you see is Cheslaw in a very uninterested expression go, "Filthy thug." Which, he got his head blown off, and that is the only thing that he can think.
I feel like we should bring up why Cheslaw is so scared of other immortals.
Not yet.
Not all of the reason, but
So
like...
that's what we're going to stop with the train plot point for here for now.
Now where do
Go
we
back to
move?
Firo.
I think we have to move to the boat, because we're ahead of the boat.
Nope, now you meet Zillard.
Zillard the Zealot.
You see, Zillard Quartz. Old dude. He gets brought the old dude who makes the elixir of immortality. And what Zillard does, he places his hand upon the head.
He places his right hand upon his head.
And suddenly, the old guy who created the elixir starts getting sucked into Zillard. Which, that's terrifying. 'Cause at this
Gruesome,
point,
mortifying,
you don't
and
know anything. And suddenly you see this guy just getting eaten.
Okay. This world is weird because there's no superpowers. Like you don't have people with telekinesis or anything like flying or inhuman strength. These are all normal people except for some of them just can't die.
And now you see this man just absorb. We can see chats. And no, this is not a Fortnite channel. Anywho, so that's just utterly terrifying. And immediately you get a fear of Zillard. And you see that he's associated with Ennis. Which raises a whole bunch of questions. Because you know, based on the first episode, that Ennis becomes friends with Isaac and Miria. So, there are a couple questions you're left there. And then you see Firo becomes a capo. And that proceeds with an extremely well animated knife fight.
Oh yeah. Like you think Firo's pretty cool and you're like, yeah, he's got this. And then his opponent's like not hyped up enough.
Yeah. He fights this guy who has been kind of chaperoning him around town for a while he's preparing to become capo. And they have a knife fight. And that is his name is Mir. I forgot his name. It sucks. This is actually one of the important characters. Miza. His name is Miza. And it is extremely well animated knife fight, very well done. And Firo manages to get a cut on Miza. This causes everyone to kind of be a little bit shocked because Miza's never been cut through his entire time being there.
Miza hasn't lost in what? What did they say?
I don't remember. It was a large amount of years.
It was like, did he mention that it was like over 200 or?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But then you see Miza's wound heals very quickly, which alerts you Miza's an immortal. So then after this, they celebrate. Firo's a capo, raise a glass, and then the Dawn shoots a bolt into the roof. And then there are screams.
And you hear screaming.
So that comes back up later. And you flash back a bit to Isaac and Miria deciding that they want to rob a gang. They want to rob a gang because gangs are criminals. And they're like, we've done so much bad. Let's do some good. Let's rob a gang. Even though robbery is still a crime. But they're too dumb.
Let's talk about some of their former robberies before we get into that. Because they've got some impressive ones. These two rob every place they rob is in costume. In fact, in the intro, it starts with Isaac flipping a coin, looking at it, being disappointed, then proceeds to put on a jack-o'-lantern suit, while Miria puts on a Santa Claus outfit.
Yep. And I saw this question in chat. Immortals, it's kind of, in this sense, it's a superpower, basically. Because enough people have it, and it has weaknesses and strengths. It's pretty cool. This is a very good take on immortality, I think. Out of any other immortality I've seen, this is probably one of my favorites.
I think it's pretty good. I think it's not as like You don't see a downside to it until you get to a later point where Cheslov starts talking about his past.
Yep. So, anyways, you got these two thieves who dress up in costumes and steal stuff. The police haven't caught them. Do you know why? Because no one thinks they're robbing. Everyone's like, ooh, cosplayers.
A street performance.
So there
This
are a
is
lot
great.
of pictures of them posing with people. Because they're like, attention, woohoo, this is great.
Also, one of their robberies, they wanted to prevent people from being able to get into a history museum.
So they stole the door.
They thought, if we take the entrance, no one can get in. So they stole the door. Brilliant, I tell you, brilliant.
Yes, forever the greatest heist of all time. They decide, let's steal from the Gondar family. And what they see walking out of the Gondar family is Dallas and his crew carrying a box, which was the same box that the immortality elixir was placed in. They decide to take said box because robbery.
And it was so easy for them.
What happened? Dallas got into a fight.
No, Dallas and the crew were walking out of the place after going in with... At this point, Dallas is immortal.
Yeah.
And had
You
just...
find out that Cheslaw wants to use Dallas as a pawn. So he made Dallas immortal in order to... Or not Cheslaw, Zillard.
Yeah.
The old man who eats people.
Old man who eats people sends Dallas to go steal the stuff back because Dallas screwed up and lost it after he stole it from the first guy that the original old guy needed it from. Love dodecahedron. Sorry. When things get jumbled up, I think about gamers.
There is kind of fan service in this show. I mean, you see Nice having an orgasm at one point.
I don't remember this. Looks like I'm rewatching Baccano tonight. So yeah, instead of fighting them, Isaac just kind of runs up in front of him and goes, "Hey, give me that." Dallas goes, "What are you, stupid?"
Then they start beating the crap out of Isaac.
They don't even get to fight him. No, it's just instantly from behind. Miria goes, "Hey, what about me?" Smoke bomb. Grab and go.
I thought this was the time that Ennis showed up and beat the crap out of the four of them.
No, that was way earlier.
Well, Ennis meets Isaac and Miria by beating up Dallas in his game to protect Isaac and Miria.
And Isaac and Miria are like, "You're such a great person." And she's like, "No, I'm not." And they're like, "You're humble too? We love you."
Isaac and Miria are definitely great. Great.
And now Ennis has friends.
Ennis finally made some friends, and she deserves friends. She is such a lovely girl.
She deserves someone more than a friend too. We'll get into that.
Later. Anywho, so they have the immortality, and they decide they're going to go steal from the Marcusco, something like that. Another small gang. So they go there, dress up as a nun and a priest. And they're like, how do we get in? Just act like we know what we're doing.
Can we recreate?
No.
We're at a table though.
No.
Please?
Anywho, they start pointing at each other, like waving, doing the wave while walking around the table. Yeah, like that. It was great. And then they see a back room, and they go into said back room.
Then Isaac sees holes in the ground.
Decides to look through the hole.
And goes, "Yeah, there's definitely a mafia office down there."
Bang.
Cut down to the gunshot from the celebration earlier.
So, I don't know if I don't think it ever says if Isaac got shot or if his hat got shot through.
No, Isaac got shot because his hat was off. I'm pretty sure this is when we find out that he had some of it. Because Miria's convinced he's dead. The one was she Chinese?
She was dressed up as a Chinese.
She was dressed up as a Chinese girl, and she was hot.
She has a name. I think it was Lee or something like that.
She was hot. That was what was important. She tackled him, chest in face, classic anime style. He falls to the ground on top of these holes before the gunshot happens.
Yep.
Because she notices what's going on, and she goes, "Hey, you shouldn't be back here. Dive."
However, then they get brought down to the party, and they're like, they're just like, okay, I guess we're part of this family now, apparently, even though because no one really knows that they aren't.
Yeah, they're just kind of like,
And they're like, they kind of feel bad for like trying to rob the place, so they decide to pour some booze for everybody, but it's not booze.
the booze is the elixir. At this point, a couple families have united. You remember Luck from earlier? Him and his family have joined up with this group.
Well, they've been on friendly terms throughout the entirety of the show.
Luck and Firo are friends, which is nice because I like Luck.
Yep, you see that pretty soon on, like the two capos. I think talking about the Gandor brothers, Luck, Keith, and Berga, I think they're honestly pretty cool. They're out of all the mafia, they are the only ones that feel the most mafia-like.
Yeah, they're not like go out in public and we're gonna gun everything down. They are definitely more of a like we're controlling things behind the scenes and you don't see it. We're quiet and calm and smart and also very dangerous.
It's the type of people you don't want to get mixed up with. Like,
I think Luck is the only one in the entire show to use a silenced pistol.
I think so, yeah. But that's pretty cool. And then let's see.
Okay,
Let's see what else is there.
not at the moment, but maybe in a bit.
I think in Firo's family they have
Okay.
Misa, Firo, a girl named Sylvie,
We'll catch up with you.
and apparently now Isaac and Maria, because I guess it's not too hard to join a mafia.
Are you
family.
joining? Are you joining our podcast?
And now there's a dog.
Come here. We have a guest.
Dogs.
My baby.
So
All right.
that's pretty cool. And then what was the other timeline? The
We haven't talked about the boat at all, which is extremely important.
We need to talk about the Genowards first. Eve's
Genowards.
search for Dallas, which gets her into a lot of trouble.
Eve is looking for Dallas, goes to information brokers.
And you-
Information brokers.
Then you find another family whose name I forget, but this family has had some of their members killed by Dallas because Dallas was taking revenge due to the death of Dallas's father and brother, I believe it was.
Yeah, I think older brother.
So
maybe.
two of the Genowards were killed by them. So Dallas is out trying to get revenge on them, but that puts a target on his back. So they're searching for Dallas in order to get back at him. And she's searching for Dallas because her brother went missing.
And Dallas treated her well. Dallas was nice to his sister, kind of. He was kind of an ass towards the end because he was in some messed up stuff. So he was like, God doesn't exist. There's no miracles. Give up on that. Stop being a little brat.
Yeah, he's punk. He's your delinquent child. But so she's searching for him, and a lot of questions are being raised, like, where's Dallas? What's going on? Why would the information broker sell her out?
So the information brokers that the mob went to for info are the same ones that she went to for info, and one of them sells her out when his life is put on the line.
Yep.
He says, we don't know where Dallas is, but we know where his little sister is, and if you want to lure him out, you can kidnap her. Which is a really scummy thing to do from a group that was actually really cool throughout most of the story.
Yeah, you find it's only him, though. He is willing to sacrifice people in order to gain more information. And which causes a little bit of discord between him and the other information brokers. Because the other one is very humanitarian. He tries to help out people however he can using the information he's acquired.
Kisses.
But those are the two of the information brokers. And now we can talk about what happened in 1711. Trace back to 1711. You see on a boat a few people. Zillard, Misa,
Cheslaw's caretaker.
You see Cheslaw with somebody. But these three characters who you have seen in 1930 are in 1711.
On a boat to America?
You're very confused. And then someone tells Zillard, Misa's about to summon Satan in order to get immortality.
Because everyone at this point was on the hunt for immortality.
So, Satan shows up.
Yeah, Satan shows up when they're trying to summon him and is kind of like, yo, I was already here. I don't know what you're trying to do. I've been here since the moment you guys started. Since you've been thinking about me, I was always here. And I know what you want, and I'll give it to you.
Yep. So he gives them a chalice full of an elixir, which gives all of them immortality. And he explains the rules of immortality.
So
They will not age, they will not die. The only way they can die is if another immortal puts their hand on the head of their right hand on the head of an immortal and says, "I want to eat."
they don't even have to say it. They have to think it.
Yep.
Which, imagine being terrified of all of your friends' right hands.
Yeah, that's like all of the immortals have the ability to kill each other. Quite handily, too. Because, as Zillard shows earlier in the show, it doesn't leave any more remains. Aside from their clothing. But, so, Zillard... So then, Misa is told by Satan how to make the elixir. And Misa alone is told this, because he is the one who summoned Satan. So, they... After finding all this out, and after everyone has a drink, they all go out to discuss the secret. And Misa says, "I don't want to tell anyone this secret. I think it'd be safer if I just kept it to myself." Zillard immediately goes, "But why? This is important. Everyone should know this." And Zillard starts trying to get this out of Misa. But Misa doesn't want it, and everyone agrees with Misa, except for Huey.
Huey
Remember that
says...
one guy who all the Black Suits are trying to get? Yeah, him.
Huey is the observer on this boat. He's literally standing around watching people entertained by...
Doing nothing.
Yeah. He says he thinks he should wait a while before he makes his decision. Misa says that the world can't handle humans not dying yet.
Yeah.
And, what is it? Zellard?
Zillard.
But, yeah. I call him Zellard because he just becomes...
So he, in craving for knowledge, decides he is going to start devouring people.
Devouring
in hopes
people,
of
by the
getting-
way. This process where you eat another person, you gain all of their knowledge and skills from the past instantly. You can also grant people knowledge and skills by placing your hand on their heads and willing it to them. But he wants to forcibly take it from everyone.
He does, and that is what he wishes to do. So he starts devouring people on this boat. And, like, they're all, like, scared because they just became mortal, but they're now dying because they're immortal. So this starts a huge fight, which ends up with Zillard being thrown overboard, along with Elmer being thrown overboard.
Zillard kills Misa's little brother, and that is the point where they've decided there is no return for him. Because Miser shares the information with his little brother. He shares half of it with his little brother. Zillard steals it from his little brother in rage, attempts to kill his little brother's girlfriend, and finds out she didn't drink any yet.
So he, despite being an immortal and her not, she has the advantage because he can't do anything to her.
He can't consume her with his hand like he can everyone else. Then his hand gets chopped off, which of course doesn't matter because it comes back a couple seconds later. But it was a dope scene and it was well animated.
So Zillard is like shook. Like he can't get that information, which annoys him. But Elmer also gets thrown off the boat around the same time Zillard does. And it follows Elmer. Elmer is approached by the devil, who tells him that he will grant him one wish. Which you don't find out that wish till the last episode.
Elmer
We're not
actually
gonna say the wish.
Elmer actually says like an Arabian genie, and he goes, "Yes, but instead of 3, you get 1."
Yep. Which interesting, and that is something that you spend most of the show pretty curious about.
Satan just grants him a wish. That's kind of dope.
Satan's just kind of doing whatever Satan wants.
I respect that.
You said you respected Satan.
I'm Lutheran, by the way, to any of you who are a little confused. And we respect everyone, even the bad guys.
Alright, moving on. So, this you find out the immortals. So, now you find out why Shezlaw is scared of other immortals, because they can devour him, if they so wish.
So he knows he's surrounded by immortals. He
He's scared of dying. He doesn't want to die.
And then he runs in to the rail tracer. Chail racer. Fail. The hash slinging, the slash bringing, the smash flinging.
This is where you're introduced to the rail tracer, one of my favorite characters, named Claire Stanfield.
That's what he used to go by.
Something you find is he hadn't been introduced to that point, except he kind of had.
He was in every intro and every closing, and
you just didn't notice him.
You didn't notice him because you thought it was just some background character.
He was the conductor telling the rail tracer story.
I realize now that because there's an image over there, we could have been, telling people who people were.
We can't point to that. You're pointing to all of them.
That one with the red hair that's not facing us, the dude, that's the rail tracer.
Yep. So it cuts back to the scene where the old man telling him about the ghost goes to shoot him. And you see the gun goes flying in the air. He kicked it up. And then he grabs the guy who tried to shoot at him, takes him out of the car, and drags his face across the rails.
No. First he interrogates him by dragging his arm across the rails. That's how he loses his entire arm.
Yes, then his face. And now he is covered in blood. He spends a large portion of this show, head to toe in red blood, which is kind of terrifying.
He does this for a reason, though. It was something to do with his father being a railroad worker, and
his mentor was a railroad worker.
Or his mentor was a railroad worker, and he was killed
by the white suits.
By the white suits. The guy he killed was a white suit who he interrogated to find out why they were there. The white suit revealed he was crazy.
Yep, they were doing it for the thrill of the kill.
So the rail tracer is born.
I guess. Technically he's existed for a while. But
now he's
And then you get a little bit of backstory on Claire. You learn that he is connected to the Gandor brothers, the triplets.
He was adopted.
Yeah, and he also
was an acrobat.
He was an acrobat at a circus for a long time.
And that's how he can move extremely gracefully and extraordinarily well.
Yeah, no one can touch this guy. He gets into a number of fights and no one touches him.
Yeah.
But Jacuzzi he goes into the front, sees everyone dead, starts running away, runs into Nice and Co., and then they all decide they're going to try to protect everybody. And this is where Jacuzzi proves he's a man's man.
Jacuzzi kisses Nice after planning their big let's meet back up, and then dips to go be the hero.
Yep. And then Nice and one of the other cohorts climbs onto the roof, and the other cohort goes, "Haven't you two been dating for 10 years?" Nice goes, "Yeah, but that's our first kiss."
Chad Ladd. Legend. Also, to the person who asked about V-Bucks, the more V-Bucks you have, the longer you'll keep your V card.
You've been waiting for that one for a while, haven't you? Okay, anywho. Yeah, so Jacuzzi proved himself to be a man. Proceeding for the rest of this show, you just see Jacuzzi time after time, despite how scared he is, despite everything. He was going to stand up to protect people, protect his friends, protect Nice, do whatever he can for everybody and anybody.
Honestly, Jacuzzi is an amazing character. And this is where Cyrus and I went from Muriel and Isaac are the best characters by far to, all right, they're great. Jacuzzi and Nice are great.
Firo and Luck are great.
Firo and Luck are great, and Firo and Ennis are also great.
Yeah, but so now you got Mr. Murder Happy, Loud Russo running around. You got Cheslot trying to figure out who another immortal is. You got the Rail Tracer trying to hunt down the white suits.
Oh no, he's indiscriminate right now. White suits and black suits and everyone he runs into.
He's trying to get rid of everyone who's making the train ride harder, basically.
Yeah.
Because at his core, he is a conductor. The thing most terrifying about the Rail Tracer, he has values and morals that he abides by.
But no one knows what they are. Like, no one else on the train knows what his
It's
code
not an indiscriminate killing. If someone is not making the train ride harder, at this point it's the train. If someone is not making the train ride harder, he will not kill them. He will try to save them. He will, like... The good riders are the ones that he wants to protect. The bad riders are the ones he wants to kill. So he's killing black suits and white suits. But then you got... Yeah, so you got Jacuzzi trying to hunt down trying to get back all the black suits.
and white suits.
And the white suits who are also trying to find Jacuzzi because he has a bounty on his head.
And apparently they care about money too.
Some of them do.
It's white suits are insane. You can't expect much from them.
Yeah. Then Lad Russo, he is, I believe he's the term where Mad Lad came from. Because he is quite mad. And he is a lad.
He is quite insane, running around hunting for people that long to survive and murdering them.
Yep. And he wishes to get to the front of the train. To which he climbs up and he sees a single girl standing up there with a knife in a black dress. Her name is Chane. She is Huey's daughter. She is a mute, so she does not speak. However, her and Lad start fighting, and you quickly learn that she is quite powerful.
Yeah. She matches up against Lad pretty well. No one else at this point has.
Yeah, Lad is kind of terrifying. He's like barehanded, fought people with guns, and won quite handedly.
Yeah, he killed a guy for not knowing all the boxers he was listing as he beat him
To death. Like, quite insane. And then...
So she holds her own pretty well. And then Lad
you
has
find
the upper hand.
Jacuzzi starts getting hunted by one specific
Sniper.
Black suit, I believe it is. Yeah. And Jacuzzi climbs up onto the roof. And then Nice and his other cohort at this time are getting more weapons and supplies.
They had gotten captured, escaped captivity. By the way, we completely skipped over Rachel.
Yeah. There is one girl on the train who immediately, as this discourse starts, climbs out the window of a moving train.
And just starts crawling around it. Which, okay. She ran into the rail tracer underneath the train. He approached her, got inches away from her face, and asked where her ticket was.
At his core, he's a conductor.
A man drenched in blood climbs under the train, moves it like the speed of sound at you, and then presents himself by asking where your ticket is. She doesn't have a ticket, by the way.
She makes it a policy to not buy tickets.
So yeah, she gets terrified.
Starts screaming.
Bolts.
Yeah. So she decides to save the mayor's wife and child, saves Nice and Jacuzzi's cohort, who I forget his name. But
Me too. He wasn't that important.
Yeah. So Nice's group starts restocking. Jacuzzi gets on the roof in order to try to protect everyone, and this guy comes up there with a flamethrower.
At this point, Jacuzzi and Nice have met up after making out, and they flirt with each other.
And she gives him a bomb out of her eye socket.
Yeah, that eye patch she's got, you can see her up there. She's got an eye patch. She sticks her hand under it, pulls out a cherry bomb, hands it to him, and goes, "This is my last one."
And he goes, "I'll use it with love."
I'll blow it with love.
Like, damn.
Something
Rude
about
criminal.
something about her saying like, "Don't be so flirtatious," or not so something. And I was like, damn. I wish I was that smooth.
None of us can be as smooth as Jacuzzi.
No.
But, so he starts fighting them. And then the rail tracer meets Cheslaw. This is probably the most terrifying scene in the entire show.
Cheslaw is not afraid of pain. Cheslaw has presented no fear of pain at all. Like, Lad blew his head off and he didn't care. And now we find out why.
Cheslaw's backstory is that the man he was with on the boat tortured him. After they became immortal, he wanted to test the limits of their immortality. So he would push Cheslaw as close to death as Cheslaw could get without actually killing him. Only for Cheslaw to regenerate and have it happen to him over and over.
And if you're thinking we mean like shooting him, stabbing, no. I mean red hot iron through the eyeball.
Being thrown into fire.
Or an acid bath. Like, Cheslaw was brutally tortured to the point where he was not afraid of pain.
Yeah.
And then he met the Rail Tracer.
But Cheslaw decides to devour the man who has been torturing him in order to escape.
Yeah.
Which, that causes slight trauma in Cheslaw, and it's why he fears devouring so much. He fears being devoured, he fears devouring. But he meets this Rail Tracer, and he tells the Rail Tracer, I have experienced every form of pain that you can think of. There is nothing you can do to me that will ever cause me any pain.
And the Rail Tracer essentially goes, wanna bet?
Yep. And then starts describing ways of death. More brutal than I could imagine.
It was... I just remember hearing what he was describing and going,
Yeah. And you see Cheslaw have fear in his eyes.
Cheslaw becomes terrified. Scared shitless.
Cheslaw is probably one of the scariest immortals due to the fact that he doesn't fear pain. Is terrified of this man. Like, this is where it established that Claire is just terrifying. There's, like, I don't know how I could possibly describe to you how terrifying Claire is.
And if you thought that he couldn't back it up, let's explain how he interrogates people. You know the Michael Jackson gravity-defying lean? He does that, but directly off the train, straight forward, holds the person below him, and grinds their body off on the floor. Or on the ground.
Yep. And he wanted to test this with Cheslaw. So he grabs Cheslaw, takes him off the train, and grinds Cheslaw's arm off.
Which, of course, it comes back. But
then he leaves Cheslaw underneath the train on, like, a weird shelf thingy in order to go check out the top of the train.
Because he hears a commotion.
Cheslaw's terrified, like, utterly terrified.
Of everything around him at this point.
And then Isaac and Miria see an arm hanging off, and they're like, what the hell? So they look
Cheslaw!
out, and they see Cheslaw hanging there, and they're like, no, little Ches. So they go check on him. And they look over, and Cheslaw's eyes move because he's regenerating. And due to this, they're like, he's alive. So they reach to try to help and grab him. Isaac gets a small cut on his wrist.
And it heals immediately, which Cheslaw witnesses and is terrified.
Cheslaw starts screaming about how much he doesn't want to be devoured and how he doesn't want them to come close to him. However, they grab Cheslaw and they try to pull him up, but because of his resisting, Isaac loses his grip. Miria grabs him, but because there's a full-grown man and a child falling off, she cannot support them, and she also goes flying off. The Rail Tracer sees this because... Or no, is it the Rail Tracer?
Rail Tracer sees it, but what the Rail Tracer sees is Isaac pulls out a lasso because he's dressed as a cowboy.
He throws the lasso.
Throws the lasso in an attempt to catch the train.
Rail Tracer, seeing that Isaac and Mary have caused no trouble on this train, decides, good patrons, must save. Grabs the rope and starts to keep them from falling off.
He gives it to the buffest guy on the train, which is one of Jacuzzi's buds, who is made friends with Isaac and Miria at this point. And he goes, here, pull this as hard as you can. The guy's like, why would I do that? He
looks at the end and sees Isaac and Miria flying off.
Just yoink.
Starts pulling them in as hard as he can. And they start flailing kind of around, and they go over the top of the train for a moment. This trips up the guy Jacuzzi's fighting with the flamethrower.
Falls on his back, bumps the flamethrower. Flamethrower's locked up and won't work.
So Jacuzzi takes that chance to attack the guy.
With a series of headbutts.
He gets shot in the stomach.
Yeah.
This fight is shit's going down. Balls to wall shit's on the floor.
Jacuzzi gets shot in the stomach after headbutting the hell out of this guy. Isaac and Miria are safe, aren't they?
Yep, they're being pulled in. Them with Ches are being pulled in.
They're being pulled in with Ches.
Chane is fighting Lad still at this point, and the Rail Tracer shows up to this fight, and he sees what's going on, and he kind of interjects. He says, I will fight whoever survives.
He also, at this point, he had interrogated Cheslaw. So he knew that the black suit's intention wasn't, well, the normal black suit's intention was to mess with the ride, but...
he realizes that Chane has different plans.
Shauna didn't want to, and neither
She's
did
against
her
it,
father.
and her father, who she is completely loyal to, is also against it.
So he's like, I'm not going to hurt you. Whoever wins this fight, though, I'm going to kill.
Yeah. But then Lad starts going up and up, and he says to the Rail Tracer, I hate people that act like they can't be killed, because I want to show them what truly needs to be killed. To which the Trail Racer says, I
Rail
can't
Tracer.
be killed.
Yeah, a Rail Tracer goes, I can't be killed, and then goes on this insane rant about how the world is just as he perceives it, and without him the world would cease to exist.
And how he is God.
How he created the world, and his destruction would be the destroy of the world. The Rail Tracer essentially wills himself into being God.
Which, at first you don't believe, but at this point, you're terrified of him because of what he just did at Ches. And then you see him manhandle Lad Russo.
Oh, Lad, who has not lost a single fight, has not even gotten close to losing, is being dominated.
Like, and it's not like it doesn't even seem like the Rail Tracer is more powerful. It's just, his skills are better. And he can't Lad can't touch him, and it feels like he can kill Lad at any moment. This is what he decides. He says to Lad Russo, he says, I'm not going to do anything. You're going to throw yourself off this train. So what happens is you see Lua, the girl who wants to die by Lad's hand, peek her head up to the top of the train.
Lad goes, what are you doing here? Get out of here. And she's like, you come down with me. And he's like, no, you idiot. And then
The Rail Tracer
grabs her.
He uses the rope that was for Isaac and Miria that they were using to get back on, and he ties it to a post off the train. So this rope is quickly going away, and he takes it,
wraps it around her neck.
he wraps around Lua's neck. So there's only a few seconds before Lua's about to be thrown off the train and killed. Lad does not want this.
Lad wants to be the one to kill her, and
So
he
what
wants
Lad
to his
does
turn.
is he runs, jumps off the train, catches Lua, then he uses his arm to hit a telephone pole to kill their momentum so that they live, which causes him to lose his arm.
And that's how he has the exclusive bone sticking out
Yep.
in episode 1.
And you also see that his fingers are missing because the burn from the rope when he grabbed it caused his fingers to get cut off.
Yeah, it's gruesome and brutal, and this was a great thing to watch for the month of October.
Yep. And the Rail Tracer looks at Chane and he goes, I think I'm in love.
Will you marry me? She doesn't say anything. She's a mute. They tend not to.
So, that's just he just jumped from,
I'm God. Jump off. You cannot kill me. I love you. Will you marry me?
he goes, I have no intentions of harming your father. I mean, if you marry me, I will be obligated to protect your father because he'll become my father too. All I want is to marry you. And
Then
he starts listing off the perks she would get through their marriage.
Then the sniper from earlier starts firing at them, and he goes, I'll be back. Carve your answer into the rail car.
Yep, and then jump into the river at the next bridge. So she does exactly that while he goes and fight. He goes towards the sniper, but Jacuzzi pretty quickly takes care of said sniper.
Yeah, Jacuzzi takes care of everything because Jacuzzi's a badass.
Yep, and then Nice goes up and hugs Jacuzzi because Jacuzzi just got shot and is barely standing.
Oh, and was stabbed.
Yeah,
He was also
and
stabbed.
they turn around and they see the Rail Tracer standing there as the sun rises.
And Jacuzzi, being the fucking Chad he is,
Goes, Nice, get down. I'll handle this. Guy.
Nice, get down. I got this. Starts
To which-
limping towards him.
To which Claire holds up his finger and goes, and he wags his finger at Jacuzzi and disappears. And that is because during the Rail Tracer story, if you remember it, it says that he only does so at night. He only kills at night. So, seeing how it's becoming day, the Rail Tracer leaves. And now the night is over. Laterusso has been thrown off. The police found him.
Bodies have been thrown off back and forth by the rail tracer.
Jacuzzi and Co. somehow survived. Isaac and Miria and Ches are all still okay.
Isaac and Miria are completely fine.
Yeah. The mayor and his wife are protected. Rachel
Got out
she's
with
free.
only a broken leg
Yep.
and some minor mental scars.
Only minor. But, so you see, that is the end of the train, which is probably the best part of Baccano. I did really love the train, the flying pussyfoot arc. But,
The flying pussyfoot.
yep. So the bartender takes, he's part of the Genoward family, so he takes in Jacuzzi and their gang because they helped him out a lot. Isaac and Miri go back to their lives, except this time they're taking Ches with them because they find out that Ches is all alone and he doesn't want to be alone. And they're like, I'll be your Uncle Isaac. I'll be Auntie Miria because they're great. And they're those type of people.
We love them.
Yep.
God, this was
So
such a
then,
good story.
Cutting back to 1930, the year before the train incident, is Dallas and Co. shoot. They're running out, or no, what happens is Sillard shows up to the capo meeting, or the capo awarding.
Yep.
Seeing Ennis outside, Fira runs out to return her cuff to her. And
Returns
he does,
cuff.
and she's kind of like surprised, like, oh, this guy isn't too bad.
They kind of become
Sillard
friends.
makes a confrontation with Misa and tells Misa he wants to devour him, pretty much. And then
Miza's buddies all show up and they're like, hey, let's kill this guy. He's messing with you.
so Sillard pulls out a Tommy gun, guns down like 8 people, and then starts trying to attack Misa. But then Dallas and Co. show up and start attacking Firo and Ennis. And here, using this commotion, Misa uses that as distraction to jump out the window. Sillard does the same, and Isaac and Miria hit him with a car.
With his car, which they stole. And also, Luck appears behind Dallas and his crew and shoots them all.
And then says, what should we do with the corpses? Ennis, knowing they're immortal, goes, tie them up. Tie them
Now.
now. And they're all like, what? Dallas and Co. wake up, gun down everyone there. And they try to leave before Ennis wakes up. And then Misa and Sillard come out the window right in front of them. Sillard getting hit by a car. Sillard, being upset at this all, decides to tell Ennis, who just arrived after waking up.
By the way, if you're wondering what happened to Dallas and his crew, they also got hit by the car, but they got hit by the car twice. The car hit them once initially, knocked them all down because Isaac and Miria were mad at them for beating them up earlier. Then when they hit Sillard, they got scared and backed up and hit them again.
Yeah. So, I should probably explain that Ennis is a homunculus created by Sillard of Sillard.
He can destroy her at will at any given moment.
She's made of him. Like, he took a piece of himself and turned it into a person, and that is Ennis. But
She's pretty cool and hot.
Anywho, he tells Ennis to murder Isaac and Miria.
Ennis is the redhead. The redhead that's not a dude.
Slightly off center of the right. But looks kind of like a Steins Gate character.
Later.
Yep. Okay. Steins Gate's good. Anywho, so Sillard. Sillard tells her to murder them. She met them earlier and doesn't want to kill these people who were so kind to her. So what Ennis decides to do is to tell them to run, and she turns around and
Stabs Sillard.
Sillard going, foolish girl. She drops to the ground, and the knife falls out as he regenerates.
Then Firo and the gang show up.
Well,
And-
no. Isaac and Miri start throwing smoke balls at Sillard.
Oh yeah, they start throwing smoke balls at Sillard, going, "Hey,
Leave her
stop
alone."
being a dick."
Yep. And then you find out that Firo, Luck, and everyone else all are immortal.
Because they drank the stuff earlier.
Yep, when Isaac and Miria were trying to make up for being shot and
Ruining the party.
they decided to give everyone some of the booze they had with them, which was an immortality potion.
They're all immortal. And Firo is told by Ennis to place his right hand on Sillard's head and
And
consume.
I want to eat. So Firo does so. He runs up and in the confusion manages to get his hand. No, he runs up. Sillard goes, "I'll devour you first." He pulls out a knife, cuts Sillard's arm in half, and then grabs Sillard and devours him.
Yeah,
he gains
Firo's
all of Scylla's
badass.
knowledge and experience. And then he walks over to Ennis, and she's just kind of in a daze because, like,
She's dying.
yeah. And he taps her on the forehead with his right hand, using the ability to give information you know to someone by touching their head.
He saved her.
Yep.
Just-
And then he asks her for her name, to which she says, "I'm Ennis."
But you are.
Why did you ask? You have Scylla's knowledge. And he goes, "I wanted to hear you say
I
it."
just wanted to hear you say it.
Because Firo is a gentleman.
The smug bastard. We love Firo.
He is great. He is just amazing.
That's essentially where most of the story is resolved. Then,
Yeah, well, not quite. Because at that point, you immediately go, Firo and Ennis should get together. Because they should get together.
doesn't happen.
They obviously are into each other.
There's a big party later.
Everyone's kind of like, ooh, Firo.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Maisa
Firo's-
starts smiling for the first time. But then it cuts to 1932. And Luck is approached by Eve Genoward, asking him where Dallas is. He isn't too reluctant to say.
Looks
Turns
like
out, after Dallas murdered a bunch of their family,
Luck and his crew had Dallas and his crew, which were now immortal, but they took the original serum, not the
completed
boat
one. They didn't take the completed one.
They took the original one, which allowed for aging. You can die of
old age.
old age, and that's it. And they put
And devouring.
and devouring, of course. But they put them in in oil jugs, filled the oil jugs with cement, and threw them into the bottom of a river.
Also with a deck of cards.
Only one of them got a deck of cards.
Yeah,
It was
they threw some
Dallas.
cards into Dallas's because it's style.
Dallas. Nah, I can't say that.
So,
That's
anywho,
a spoiler.
Dallas got yeeted into the Hudson River.
To die forever.
Yep, to perpetually drown for extremely large amount of years. So, that's terrifying, just utterly terrifying.
Yeah, that's.
And then she's like, "Can we fish on my brother? Can I do something?" And then the Runarada family, the one that was hunting down Dallas because Dallas murdered some of their men, they showed up and they're like, "We wish to use Dallas for testing this immortality stuff." So what they're like, "We'll fish him out of Hudson Bay." And she asks them, "Can I still see my brother?" And he's like, "I promise I'll let you see your brother." So they go to fish out Dallas, and Eve goes with them. And then that's the conclusion of that story. That's 30, 31. That's the conclusion of the three major story arcs.
So a couple
This is
things
episode
happen.
13.
Yeah, this
Like,
is episode 13.
there
There's
are
three.
16.
There's three more episodes of stuff.
So
We're not gonna.
when
I don't
you
want to ruin
finish-
any of that.
This episode, you're sitting here like,
What more?
most of my questions, like almost all of my questions are answered. Like, what more could I want?
You don't know what his wish was. What the wish was from
Yeah.
the one guy. You don't know if the two ever got married.
Chane and
Shawnee and Claire. You don't know a couple things. So they do.
You don't know quite what happens with. You don't know if Isaac and Miri stick around with Ennis and Firo and Co. You don't really know what happens to Chesla, what happens to Ennis. Well, actually, you do. At the end of episode 13, you see Chesla gets brought to Ennis by Miria and Isaac.
Cheslaw's terrified that Ennis, because Ennis obviously is going to recognize him. Cheslaw is terrified that he's going to be consumed because, kill or be killed. But
Yeah, that's the way he sees things. But they're like, and then he sees Misa, who recognizes him, and Misa goes to he pats Shezla on the head, which terrifies Shezla, and Shezla's like conflicted. He really wants to kill Misa because he's terrified of Misa, but at the same time he really likes Misa. He missed Misa so much. Eventually, what happens is Misa pats him on the head, doesn't devour him, just gives him a pat, and Shezla breaks down and cries, screaming about how much he missed Misa and he missed everyone. So
Cheslaw has found his happiness. Everyone's all good and well. And the only other scene I'm allowing us to talk about, because I don't want anything else spoiled for the show, is we flash forward to 2001. And Isaac and Miria are running around dressed as hippies.
Mind you, this is taking place 80 years after the event of the Capo crowning.
They're trying to fight the power and stop the cell phone radio waves from killing the young children and polluting the minds of the families.
By stealing cell phones.
Husbands were watching TV, wives were working. So they decide to start this renegade. And then Isaac looks over at Miria and goes, "Hey Miria, have we aged?"
No? And then they get super like, why are we aging? What is going on? They didn't realize they were immortal for nearly 90 years.
Wow. We love Isaac and Miria.
It's just like...
Now that we've done our overview of the show, which took us an hour almost.
That was a lot of time.
Let's.
Anyways, so first let's talk about girls. We got freaking Ennis. We got Miria. We got Nice. We got Chane. I think
Rachel. Natalie.
Rachel. If you're into MILFs. Anywho, she's the mayor's wife. So.
That name gives you bonus points. I didn't say that on stream, and none of you heard that.
Anywho, Rachel. She was working for the informant the entire time, and she was reporting what happened on the bus. She was the girl who jumped out the window and saved the mayors, and
She was pretty cool.
yeah, she saved a few people.
But best girl is Nice.
We're gonna talk about her later. Anyways, so Rachel's pretty cool. Then we got Miria. I love Miria. Charisma through the roof. You cannot not love Miria. But she is fucking stupid. So stupid.
Oh boy, there's a scene where they're mining for gold. She asks why. Isaac says, "Because I found a caterpillar, and that means we have good luck." And she goes with it.
She walked outside and screams about how inspired she is.
Then they bounce back and forth on a hammock while talking.
Yep, Miria's great. Not quite wife material, but absolutely phenomenal. Definitely someone you'd want to be friends with.
She's just perfect for the pairing they have.
Her and Isaac are put together.
You can't pull that away from them.
Yep. Ennis is great. If you're into Kudere-ish type characters, you'll like Ennis, which I am very much into.
Yeah, Ennis has to learn how to actually feel things that aren't forced upon her.
Well, she's just kind of green. Like, she's more awkward, more stalwart, because she never really interacted much with people.
Yeah.
Miria and Isaac are kind of like, they're her two friends. She becomes the big sister to Cheslaw, and her and Fira kind of have a little thing going on, if you know what I mean.
What were we forgetting about? Silver hair.
Oh, Sylvia.
Sylvia.
Sylvie. She was
On the
Mize's
original
brother's girlfriend who didn't drink the potion.
So yeah, her boyfriend died.
You find out later that after a few more years, when she's in her 20s, she decided to drink the potion.
So yeah, she's still alive. She's pretty cool. She's
Yep.
hot. We don't know too much about her.
And Nice. You can't not love Nice. Like, the best taste in men ever. She's dating Jacuzzi.
She's got a cherry bomb in her eye socket.
You find out that the reason she lost her eye was because she was playing with pyrotechnics and it exploded in her face.
As a child. And then Jacuzzi, being the fucking Chad lad he
This
is,
little 7-year-old kid
Gets
got a face tattoo.
tattoo of a sword
that
across
covers
the half of his face.
He is the guy in the dead center. Like,
And he goes, and he says, "I thought maybe if I got one, then you wouldn't stand out so much when we're together." And she starts breaking down and crying because of how great he is. And he starts breaking down and crying because he thinks she's upset.
He sees she's crying and he starts crying. And he says, "I will cry all my tears for you so you don't have to cry."
Jacuzzi's amazing.
Like, him and Nice are amazing together. It is one of the reasons we love Nice so much. Like, Nice is absolutely phenomenal. Jacuzzi has great taste. Nice has great taste.
Nice is hot, and she waited 10 years.
If I was into men,
For the
Jacuzzi would
first
be
kiss.
like number one.
Jacuzzi would be number 2, right behind Declan.
Beside the point. Anywho, all your Arc V fans.
Not who we were talking
All
about.
2 of you that exist. Anywho. So
Way to dog on Arc V. Can't wait for that reveal in a few minutes.
okay. Anywho, so Niece is great. I think wife rating for the show definitely like a 7.45. I'd say 7.45.
Niece had given 8.2.
Yeah, but overall 7.45.
7.45. That's fair for the show waifu rating. Niece alone is definitely like an 8 to 9
I give her
range.
8.67. Like I really like Niece.
Niece is great.
Overall, this show. Ooh, this is a hard one.
So we set our scale so that 5 is a net 0. It's a good show. You didn't love it.
5
you
is
didn't
a
hate
show
it.
that you watch and you don't really feel good or bad about it. You just kind of watched it.
1 is bad and 10 is perfect.
No show's ever gonna get 10 from me. My favorite show is like a 9.81. Like
There's one show that'll get a 10 from me, but it'll be a bit until we touch that one.
Yep. So, like, for me, I don't think anything's perfect. There's always room for improvement, so I'm not giving anything 10. This I have to give 8.93.
I was gonna go 8.97. So we what did we give Pancreas? I think we rated Pancreas on a different scale.
Nope, I didn't.
I did. What did you rate Pancreas?
I gave Pancreas the 8.75.
Oh yeah, mine was 8.7 repeated.
Yep.
You realize what this means, right?
Baccano's number 1.
Baccano is now the number 1 on our top 10 anime list for this show. Baccano topped Pancreas. We've got Baccano, Pancreas, and Infinite Stratos. How many top 10 lists have you seen with Infinite Stratos on them? 1. You've seen 1.
And you will continue to see one for 14 more weeks.
Double. Yeah, he's right.
Fun fact. Fortnite means 2 weeks. That is important. If we ever use the word Fortnite, we seldomly refer to the game because it's a bad game. We upload an episode once every fortnight, once every 2 weeks. Every other Wednesday.
So, yeah, our schedule basically works like this. We exist in constant pain for 5 days a week in school.
Watch some anime.
Watch some anime throughout the week. Not a whole lot because we don't get free time. But Wednesdays, school cuts out early. So we get together on Wednesdays. We watch together. That's our watching period. And then the next week, we stream the podcast. So welcome to
Every other Wednesday.
the other Wednesday.
Be here.
Every other Wednesday, we should be here. If we're gone on that Wednesday, we'll find a way.
We're gonna archive today's episode on our channel, and the first episodes will be linked in the description. They're on another channel due to YouTube being dumb.
Thanks, YouTube, for having a 24-hour wait not after you create a channel, after you first attempt to live stream.
Yep.
So, we'll get the other 2 episodes linked in the description for this video, but, alright, Baccano's our number 1. I do want to mention one more thing before we cut off the conversation about Baccano. The intro is
Guns N' Roses is the name of the intro.
goddamn top tier.
For all of you who love music, like good old classic shit music.
Okay,
Like,
if you liked Monsters, Inc., you'll like this intro.
but like if you're into like classic music, I'm sorry, this is named after a very popular rock band. However, it's fucking
It's
great.
good. The only downside is that its name is Guns N' Roses.
I don't even think it's a downside. I think that's a perfect name.
Well, that's because you're an uncultured. I can't say that on YouTube.
Anywho, so we got that brilliant opening. If you like Tank from Cowboy Bebop, you'll love Guns N' Roses. It's another jazz opening with almost no. I think there are no vocals in this one. There are a few vocals in Tank, but this is just a phenomenal opening. If you like jazz, you'll love this opening. And the opening cuts through and it shows off each character and there's
Gives
a bunch
them
of little hints.
Gives them their names too. That's really helpful because in the first episode, you're wondering who the hell is what the hell is why.
Yep. Definitely. If you watch this entire thing without watching the show, I'm sorry. Like, you just had your experience of the show cut down by quite a large margin. But
Still
also,
watch it. It's still
go
worth
watch it. It is phenomenal. Even if you know what's going on, that just makes the rewatch so much better. Like, I watched the first episode and go, this show is going to be hella fun to rewatch.
Yeah.
So, after a little bit of a breather because I can't just rewatch the show immediately upon after seeing it because
No, you can only do that with certain shows.
I can't. I need time.
Like Boy Meets World. You can watch a season of Boy Meets World 5 times and it's still amazing.
Any time. So it's probably gonna be a while before I rewatch this, but I'm pretty excited for whenever that happens.
Alright, it is technically my week to choose. Now,
I get to choose because
here's the thing.
he's deciding to use his turn on a long-running anime, which will be revealed the week before we cover it.
Yeah, I am passing this over to Cyrus because we have a pretty long-running anime to watch together.
54 episodes, I think. What we're gonna watch is 54 episodes of it.
Comment down in the description what your guess is for what we're going to be watching.
Yep. So while we're gonna be watching that in the background, I get to choose this week, and I'm gonna choose an anime about magical girls, flowers, and friendship.
I'm about to experience the 70s.
Woo! We're watching Yuki Yuna as a hero. For those of you who are familiar with the magical girl genre, good. That is one of my favorite genres.
Spelling right now.
Yuna.
Yuna
Space?
Yuki.
Her name is Yuna Yuki, so it's kind of swappable. Yuki is Isahero. And we will watch
Okay.
the 2 sequel series. Sumiwashi is a hero. Or no, Yuki is a hero. Washa Sumi chapter, and Yuki is a hero chapter.
How long is this?
I think total 18 episodes between the 3 of them, 18 episodes.
All
It's
right,
not a
maybe
long
manageable.
one. It's not a long one. It's pretty easy to binge. So, because it's not one that you watch one episode. It's not like Baccano where you watch an episode and you go, I need time to digest everything I just learned and fit this into the timeline.
Yeah, that's some good advice. If you're watching Baccano, give yourself time to digest. Don't watch 6 episodes in one night until it's 1 in the morning.
Because you're going to be like, what the fuck? So,
Yeah. All right. Final note before we cut off the podcast. I have decided, because I'm independently wealthy, I'm not, I am willing to spend my money if we can get this channel to 50 subscribers.
that is the most.
Well, 100 subscribers is the hentai episode.
Oh,
If
yeah,
we can
you
get
have to
this-
explain that halfway.
Oh yeah, since this is a new channel, I guess we'll re-explain this. But first goal, 50 subscribers, I will start making the ninjas, preachers, and prostitutes t-shirts for people to buy. So subscribe and share this with people, and I will, if we get to 50, I'll start making those t-shirts so that people can order them. 100 subscribers. I made a promise to a friend at work that
So,
if our channel got to 100 subscribers, we would make an episode on hentai and near hentai.
so we're going to be watching good old Kakaguryu, Keijo, the works. Maybe, what's it called? Interspecies Reviewers.
We've already both seen at least season 1 and 2 of what's it called? What am I thinking of? No, that's not.
High School DxD.
The High School DxD.
I want to talk about High School DxD.
We're not talking about season 3 of High School DxD.
I don't want to talk about High School DxD. High
Why
School
not?
DxD makes me sad.
We only talk about season 1 and 2.
Alright. Anywho, so share us with your friends, tell them about it, tell them, hey, I know this really mediocre channel.
Get us to 50, and you could get a shirt.
pretty cheap one, probably. We'll see.
Yeah, we're not really out here to make a huge profit. We're out here to have fun.
Yep. So if you're interested, keep tabs, share around, get more people. We'll keep this up if you do. Might keep it up regardless whether you do or don't. So I guess we'll see you all next week.
Excelsior!
Next fortnight, technically.